Hey there folks, it's me TheTacticalBrit, and we're here with some spicy Battlefield gameplay. I know, it's been off and on. It's been off and on for a reason, because there just, well, all in all hasn't really been much going on. And yeah, today I just wanted to dive into the Marita map. I've actually already played this. For those of you who saw, I went to EA Play. So none of this really is a surprise for me, but I feel like it's worth going over again now that I've managed to get a lot more hours under my belt and actually, you know, play this thing relatively consistently. Now this video today is brought to you by the guys over at Aorus Gaming. They do everything that my PC and entire existence runs on, really. The motherboard, the RAM, everything in between really has come from the guys over at Aorus, and I highly recommend them if you're looking for laptops, monitors, computer parts, peripherals, anything in between. They've got lots of really cool shit. Check them out in the description below. So, Marita, it's a pretty, well, straightforward map. It's entirely infantry based and it looks very pretty. And it's probably one of the best atmospheric maps you'll see in Battlefield at the moment. I think it gives you a real sense of combat. There's really great lighting. The planes overhead really add a nice effect. Lots of smoke and fire as well in the backdrop. And I really do think it gives off a great sense of atmosphere and a great sense of World War II feel, which is something that's been more or less missing from Battlefield, I think, at the moment. I think Battlefield 1 we reached a peak, and then all of a sudden in Battlefield 5 we went woo all the way down, and here we are now with Marita hopefully stirring some of that back up. But what do you need to know about this map? Well, ultimately it's pretty linear in terms of structure. You'll notice, especially on breakthrough mode, they can be very clusterfucky, especially in some of the earlier and mid objectives. There are more or less one or two objectives stacked behind or directly next to each other, and it becomes a bit grindy, but I guess that's kind of what you get when you play a linear mode like breakthrough anyway. So breakthrough, all in all, is a decent experience. It's certainly not my favorite. I feel like this map was more or less built for larger modes like Conquest, purely because the layout in itself is already quite linear and already quite head-to-head. So adding another layer of here are the objectives that are also head-to-head, in my opinion, kind of messes things up. I think you get a lot of a messy situation, and I think especially with the artillery strikes, which again, still no idea why those exist in linear modes like Breakthrough and Rush. I just don't feel like this kind of suits Breakthrough. I feel like it's a good mode, it kind of works, but because of the narrowness of the current setup of this game, and because of the current narrowness of the map, I really don't feel like it shines in any particular way that I would point out as standout. I really like the infantry combat, and I really feel as though that's a merit towards Breakthrough, but there's just too many funnel necking problems where you're trying to break through and it's just a gridlock of people, and the attackers are constantly getting bitched on, and then all of a sudden the defenders are just getting absolutely bitched on because whoever controls really the funneling situation, like once somebody gains the mid ground and just basically obliterates the deployment of the other team, that's just how the game is going to go permanently, and I really feel like that's quite disappointing, and yeah, just not a huge fan of Breakthrough. But Conquest is where this bad boy shines, and yeah, it's exactly what you'd expect it to be. I feel like Marita is one of the first map that offers really great flanking routes and really great movement between an urban environment, although it's not technically an urban map, so to speak, because it's a sort of small town on the side of a cliff, or however you may see it. It's actually got really great urban gameplay, purely because there are so many alleyways, walkways, and roads in between that allow you to efficiently flank players, allow the more skilled players especially to get up into great positions and cover objectives. And I really feel like the flow of infantry between objectives is fantastically done. And I feel like this is something that becomes a common trend with most of Dice LA's maps. Some of them in the past, especially in previous games as well, they really do manage to nail down moving infantry between objectives. Every player feels like they're part of the action. At no point do you feel particularly bored. And more and most importantly, I feel like it's just a really great map. I feel like it's a really great map for that purpose, and I think the Conquest layout is a true representation of how good the map is, and I take the Breakthrough layout with a pinch of salt. I really do feel as though that because this is a linear map already, a Conquest layout makes much more sense, and I'm really glad that they've gone for this. I really do enjoy the infantry component here. You're not being bombed by planes, you're not getting taken out by tanks, there's a few transport vehicles and some infantry, and you just get to it. And whilst admittedly that's a little bit disappointing for some of you out there who've been waiting for a vehicle map, and we're still waiting on the other map Map Alice and Dan to be released in the Conquest variant, which will suit people in that category. This is a really great infantry map that isn't the stupidity of Fiel 652, where you're being constantly blown up by planes and things that just more or less don't make sense. And also, it completely destroys the bottlenecking you get in Fiel 652 as well, where people are trapped in alleyways and can't move, or it's just becoming a meat grinder, because there are adequate flanking routes in order to break the deadlock. You don't have to constantly get stuck in those deadlocks and just stick with them. Here in Marita, you actually have multiple options to get out of them. You can hold down buildings, you can flank around buildings, above, below, anything in between, lots of hardcore parkour. And ultimately, for me, I really do feel as though this is a great way, a really great representation of what infantry can be when Battlefield does it pretty well. Now, there are still some issues, of course, and there are some things that do need to be addressed. I find, particularly if you're on the Axis side of things, you can get stuck very easily at C and D. Now, because this is a very linear map, you'll notice that the objectives sort of go 2 by 2 by 2, and because of that, if you get stuck at one of those 2s, it can be quite difficult to break out, almost in like a breakthrough sense of the word. And I really do hope that maybe something's addressed here. Maybe they stagger the objectives a bit more, or perhaps allow some more emplacements to be built to get people out of the objective. It just feels as though there is a situation where players can get stuck in their deployments a little bit, and that's something I'd like to see changed, or at least addressed in some shape or form. So guys, that's it for my quick review on the Marita map. I'm not going to overdo it, just purely because I feel like the best reviews are the ones where people have already played them themselves, and more importantly as well, like I've already played Marita a lot, so I feel like, you know, you kind of get the idea already. So folks, thank you for watching. Please leave a thumbs up, please leave a comment. I love chatting to you guys in the descriptions and all that. Yeah, it would be great to chat to you below, so leave a comment, leave a like, leave a subscription, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you again in the next video.